Hey, this is JT at Hoagie's Garage. Um, kind of wanted to do this question and answer video about the Impala, and obviously I'll answer your questions anytime you ask them, as much as I can keep up with it. But had a few specific ones I thought I would share here and sort of run through them. They've been coming on YouTube. I've been getting some random emails, things of that nature. Let's see. Lots of interest in the headlights. Here, let me grab the camera here. Hold on. There, let me adjust this. Sorry. Go over here. Okay. Just to show you what these guys look like. Okay. What these are, these headlights were bought 2009, 2008 from Focus Tech, which is no longer around. They are a Hella projector inside there. At the time, we were told, my dad purchased them, that they're similar to a C6 Corvette style bulb in there. They had options for, the devil eyes, the halo rings, all that stuff. My dad just went for more than anything optics, just to be a brighter night driving light, because the stockers are just garbage. Last video, I added the smoked parking lamps. Having a little problem with the driver's side, not too big of a deal. But yeah, those are from Focus Tech, and just another plug for we're trying to get enough people, which we're pretty close. I think we're up to 20 sets now. Spare lenses. Not really the best news. If you like them, you can't really get them anymore. There are different options, so check online, different things like that. You definitely can locate these though. All right, next question I got was, actually got quite a few regarding this. Interior, people were curious about, what's it look like. This car has 180,000 miles on it, and you've seen cars with 180,000 miles on it. Not too good. Worn out seats, steering wheel's garbage, plastic, the paint, everything is just scratched, worn out. The great thing about this car is, and I would love to see one out there that's like this, because I'm going to say it's few and far between. My dad was mainly the sole driver and passenger of this car, as in 150,000 or so miles where he was the only one driving it, as in like nobody in the passenger seat, nobody in the back. I rode in it here and there, but as a kid, not very often. This wasn't like, we'll say, a daily, like he took me to, basketball practice or something. It was like this was our vacation car. This was the car my dad drove for work. My mom never drove the car. It was just my dad. So really, if you think about mileage and usage, 180,000 miles on any car is a lot, but this seat over here probably has 20,000 miles on it. The back seats have less. It just has nothing on it. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to grab the camera, sort of show you around some different things. There's a couple very minor wear spots, but I'll show you what I mean, which it's almost nothing if you consider the mileage. So here we go. So if you excuse my bad lighting, we are in the garage, it's nighttime. This is your typical Impala SS driver seat. Nothing to write home about, actually kind of uncomfortable. The only real wear spot we have, boy, there's a lot of shadow. You can see though, right there on that entry back part, there's a little bit of wear there. Seat bottoms though, held up pretty darn good. Let me flip my light here, I'll show you this. Steering wheel, very nice shape, held up well. Door panel, again, held up well. My dad had seat covers on these things pretty much forever, just a slip fit, custom, made, whatever, for this seat. But And then obviously you can see the floor mats down there that were, just a custom job made up for that. Passenger seat, pretty much mint. Passenger seat belt, pretty much mint. One of the first things I did, my dad did have a spare seat belt. So which finding these guys in gray is near impossible. But my dad bought one at the dealership before they were gone, so I put that in, which was like amazing. That one was pretty worn out, just because picture how many times that's been taken on and off. The radio here, I did just put that in. That's the one factory radio Bluetooth down there. You can see that, but I mean, knobs are in nice shape, shifters in nice shape, center console's in nice shape. Overall, I mean, very, very nice, not bad. The dash has always had this dash mat on it since I can remember. So, I mean, not much sun wear. And this car was always in the garage, too, when Dad wasn't driving it. So, all right, I've kind of mounted a light up here so you can see the inside of the back. Pardon the shadows again, all my rig here. Honestly, I'll say the back seat, 10,000 miles, probably, if that. I mean, and that was by me at, high school age, so it wasn't like adults were ever cramming back here. Headliner's nice, back seats are fine. It's had, as you can see, this seat cover on the back forever, which I'll probably leave there because my daughter has a car seat, which I'm not all about having dig into your leather. And, sorry, I'm bouncing everywhere. These things have been on here as long as I can remember, too, to keep the back nice. I remember it was like one of the biggest complaints my dad made of this car when he got it was that gray interior, which, I mean, it's, not necessarily the leather is really a problem, but like the carpets and stuff like that, it's definitely shows a lot of dirt, and it's tough to maintain if you, use your car. But, I mean, overall, when I look in here, I'm like, yeah, I am very, very excited because it's like, with the miles, it's deceiving. It's actually like nicer than, my Camaro interior that has like 100,000 miles, or my Trailblazer interior that has 80,000 miles. It was just driven straight down the highway, and pretty much that was it. So, all right, next question. All right, this question was on YouTube from one of our regular watchers here. He actually asked quite a few, so I'll sort of go through them here. And this one's a good one. It said, what type of suspension upgrades are you planning? What are you going to use it for? As much as it would be fun to do, this is going to be just a daily driver. It's not going to be, autocrossed. It's not going to be tracked. It's not going to be quarter mile. I'm just going to drive the thing because, that's kind of what it's meant for. And yeah, the other ways are driving. I get that. But, I'm going to use it to drive to work and pick my daughter up and take her places. And, when it's nice out, we're going to drive it. And when it's winter, it's going to be parked. But as far as the suspension goes, it's already done. At about 150,000 miles, right in that range, from back to front, front to back, everything was done. And if I missed something here, you can bring it up or say, like, what about that? Coney shocks all the way around, Eibach lowering springs. I think it's like their Pro kit or something like that, which, yes, I know Eibach is well known for sagging, and I think these have sagged a little bit, but hey, it's still pretty cool. Hotchkiss trailing arms, the extended ones, which make the rear wheels center in the back, and that means the drive shaft, which I just took off in the last video, had to be longer, so that's there. Oh gosh, what else? Hotchkiss Hotchkiss sway bars front and rear, and all the way around everywhere is urethane bushings on all the tie rods, ball joints, all that stuff was done. So there's a shop here in town, not where I live, but where I grew up, owned by Summit Racing. They did all the work, the alignment, the installation, everything, and I remember driving this when I was 16, 17 years old. It really had like a floaty feel, if that makes sense. And I remember driving it after all that stuff was done, and it was just like, my mind blew because you're like, gosh, this car handles so good. And then when I had the suspension on my Camaro done, same exact way, never quite was as good as this. It hits bumps harder, it's lower, so you can't run over, a silver dollar. I mean, it's definitely has compromises to doing all this stuff, but man, it is for a big car. It is planted, it is fun, it's comfortable still. It's definitely a sweet, sweet suspension. Next thing he asked. Oh, yeah, engine question. All right, so engine-wise, this is very simply put an LT1. Board stroke to a 383 by Golan Engines. They did the bottom end, as in this came to us quasi, somewhat short block. Trick flow heads, clear image headers. This is what you can see on here now. Water pump delete up front. Here, let me show you, just sort of to make this easier. MSD, which I understand. We're gonna do it. We're just gonna see how it works. Electric water pump. It's gonna be an Edelbrock intake. Still debating the throttle body end of things, if I'm gonna do the 58 millimeter. Now out back we have nothing, obviously, because it's on the engine stand, but the transmission, it's in the car right now, probably think about 40,000 miles ago ish, was built by Gearstar. Their stage 2, I think is what it is, roughly built to handle 450 horsepower, shift points all recalibrated, tuned, all that good stuff, Corvette parts in it, the whole deal. You can check them out. They did a really good job. I mean, it's not like they, were going to give us a discount or anything for plugging in, but nice company. They did a good job. But as far as the engine goes, I'm kind of stuck right now in a holding pattern because, something like, say, I don't know, oh, right here. Water pump sitting down there ready to be bolted up. It's all built and done. I don't have bolts for it because they are in the car over there. Okay, so that's sort of my next move, to start unbolting items from the engine and transferring to here. The other big thing that is going to happen while I'm in there and all this is out, the air conditioning just took a total dump, like at around 160,000 miles or less. So what that means is new lines, new compressor, everything's going to be swapped out. Condenser, dryer, all that garbage that's makes the AC system just a blast to work on. What else for the engine? Got the clear image high flow cats on the car here, which if you looked at the video, Borla cat back, which you can't really see. And that sort of moves me on to the next question, which is the lift. So let me set up for this shot here. Dude had a question about the lift it's sitting on, and all the details on that. So let me show you that here. 1 second. Okay, the lift that the car's on here is what we call a quick lift, KWIKLIFT. Not that they owe me anything, but I'm not necessarily in the business to plug companies that aren't cool. This is like everything they sell for the quick lift sitting here, as in we spent a lot of money with them, and they didn't even return my email asking them for I was going to show their jack in a review, because they have even a special jack that works with this. Nevertheless, I'll quit whining about them because it is a cool product. If you look here, basically this end down here has legs that flip under, and I'm not going to do it now because it's up, it's sitting here. I don't feel like screwing with it. Now I got stuff underneath there, but those legs up front flip under, and it lowers that end down, and that's how it backs up onto the lift. And I even have little like ramps that make it a nice smooth transition. But this is as high as it goes. This is it. Like it basically allows you to get under there. I've used this to pull transmissions on my Camaro. A number of different jobs, rear end jobs. The one thing you will notice when you look at this thing is how do you work on the wheels? Because it's sitting on the wheels. Well, they have cradles, which I have them under there. I don't have them out though, that slide up and down, or you can kind of drive over the cradle, and it allows you to jack up. We'll say like by the pumpkin, like if you don't work on the back end, that sort of thing. Had a guy say, well, like what's the height of it? Roughly under here, you're looking at 16 inches, and to the bottom of the car, I'm at 28 inches. So you have 28 inches of play from the floor to the bottom of the car. If you can see this in here, my garage for this sort of thing, this is like the duct work for my heating system in my house, so it really ruins the height of it. So really, this is the perfect lift for this garage. The maximum height I'm hitting here on this car, we're about 6 foot and change. I mean, if you have a low ceiling garage like this, you're not going to go any higher than this anyways. Maybe 8 inches or so without getting a little close. But yeah, and the other thing that's cool too on this, and we just busted these out. We've never really used them. You can see the 4 legs are on like wheel chocks almost, not like wheel chalk, like skates. And you can actually slide this around with some effort. But you can see in there's a big bar, this tube right here that's sticking out. That's what you jack it up by to lift up this front end. But, for the purposes of this, what this is going to allow me to do is I'm going to be able to work underneath on items, because this car's so low you can't get under it even with Rhino ramps or whatever, which they're not really the safest. I feel completely safe under this thing. What we're gonna do then, and I'll show you this, the front of the car is gonna sort of go down like that, so it'll give me that like kind of cool angle to sort of pull the motor out right out the front right there. So that's the quick lift by Quick Lift. Right there it's kind of dark and you can't really tell. There's a cradle under there. Takes up minimal space. It's not too bad if I back up here around all my lights. We can still fit a car next to it, and with those wheels you have the ability to slide it all the way over. When this was bought over 10 years ago, it was at a time when the hydraulic jacks weren't exactly accessible to everybody. You had to buy like a legit 4-post hydraulic professional jack. Now you can get like a pretty slick 2-post design that's portable. You can move it right out of the way. Lots more options now. But with that being said, there's nothing to break on this. That's the coolest part of it. There's no hydraulic issues. There's nothing. You don't need power. You can put this in a barn in the middle of nowhere and you can use it forever out there. So yeah, and if I show you this angle of it, sorry, my lift is in the way. You can see the yellow sticker there. That's the back leg. The tire's backed all the way up. It overhangs with the Impala quite a bit. So, and then if you notice, it is a great place to store junk underneath of it when you aren't, using your junk, like a saw and stuff like that. So that's the Quick Lift. I'd still like to try their jack. Maybe they'll send me one, because it's a really cool floor jack that's meant specifically for the Quick Lift. All right, last question I have here. What's your overall goal of the car? I kind of said that earlier. It's just going to be driven. It's really, if we're honest, this is replacing a 1998 Camaro SS, which is going to be for sale here, by the way. It's just not practical with a kid. It's not. I love driving it. It's so fun. Does great on gas. It's reliable. It's an LS motor. It's great. But I really can't use it every day. I'm like that guy with a baby in the back of a Camaro, and I don't want to be that guy. I'd rather have, you know, a four-door sedan that people look at and they're like, what are you driving? But in my head, I know what it is, and I know how fun it is. And every day, I enjoy getting in the car and driving it instead of going out and buying a beige Camry and just driving my way to the end of my life. You know, this isn't going to be a winter car. It's going to be parked when the snow starts to fly. Just picked up a Subaru I know that's somewhat blasphemy for the Chevy guys. Got a WRX STI, so that'll be my winter / track car for road track, you know, road course type stuff. Thanks for watching. I'm going to get under this guy this weekend because I just got some new parts in I want to mess with and try to get them going here over on the new engine. But any more questions, we could do another Q&A if people, you know, you guys have anything you want to know, specifics. I've said it before and I'll say it again. I'm not the guru on these cars. There's a great online community which I go to often. So I'd say if you have questions, ask them specifically about this car or this specific build, because I can help you with that. I'm not the guy to say, you know, what's the best this or that, whatever. I can tell you what is specific to this car. Thanks for watching. HoagiesGarage.com. For more updates, tune back soon. See ya.